Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome back to our YouTube channel, Daily English Dialogues. We are absolutely thrilled to have you here for another session of immersive English learning. I'm Corey, and as always, I'm joined by my dear friend and co-host.
Thanks, Corey. Hi, everyone. I'm Orus. It's fantastic to be back in the studio. We've been reading through your comments on our previous videos about financial vocabulary and healthy habits, and we're so grateful for the incredible feedback. It's wonderful to see so many intermediate and upper intermediate learners from all over the world engaging with our content.
It really is. Today, we've prepared something a bit more down to earth, but equally essential for your daily life. We are going to tackle a topic that is a source of anxiety for some and a way of life for others, the concept of time, specifically talking about being late.
Oh, this is a juicy one, Corey. Punctuality, or the lack thereof, is one of those things that can really define your reputation, especially in professional or academic circles. Whether you're a master's student rushing to a lecture or a researcher heading to an international conference, time management is everything.
Exactly. And since this is an upper intermediate level podcast, we aren't just going to say, I am sorry I am late. We're going to dive into more sophisticated expressions. We'll be using B1 and B2 level vocabulary throughout the dialogue to help you sound more natural and fluent.
That's the goal. You'll hear us use words like tardiness, unforeseen circumstances, held up, and time-sensitive. We want to give you the tools to explain yourself clearly without sounding like you're making basic excuses.
We've divided this episode into several parts to make it easier to follow. We'll start by discussing the morning rush, move on to cultural differences in how we perceive time, look at some common and perhaps not so honest excuses, and finally discuss the best ways to apologize and make amends.
It's going to be a comprehensive look at the philosophy of being late. So if you're listening to this while you're actually running late for something, maybe take a deep breath, keep listening, and use our tips to smooth things over when you arrive.
Hopefully, our listeners are actually ahead of schedule today. But either way, grab your notebooks, maybe a cup of tea, and let's settle in. This is a long-form dialogue designed to help you get used to the rhythm and flow of natural English conversation.
Before we dive into part 2, don't forget to check the description box below for the full transcript. It's a great way to follow along if you find the pace a bit challenging. All right, Corey, should we get into the thick of it?
Let's do it. Here is part 2, the stress of the morning rush.
So, Corey, I have to ask, were you on time getting here today, or did you have a bit of a frantic morning? You look a little more caffeinated than usual.
Is it that obvious? Honestly, Orus, it was a total close call. I usually pride myself on being incredibly punctual. I'm the type of person who arrives 10 minutes early just to sit in the car and breathe. But today, my alarm clock decided to betray me. Or, if I'm being completely honest, I probably hit the snooze button one too many times during that deep sleep cycle.
Ah, the classic snooze button trap. It's the ultimate enemy of a productive morning. It's like a siren song, isn't it? Once you fall back into that light 5-minute sleep, your internal clock gets completely thrown off, and your brain enters this state of sleep inertia where you can't think straight.
That is exactly what happened. I woke up with a jolt, looked at the clock, and realized I had precisely 15 minutes to get ready and leave the house. At that point, the fight or flight response kicks in, and pure panic takes over. I was rushing around the house like a whirlwind, trying to find my keys, which of course were not where they were supposed to be.
That's the law of the universe, isn't it? When you are in a desperate hurry, your essential items simply vanish into thin air. It's like your wallet and keys know you're stressed and decide to play a game of hide and seek just to test your patience.
It's infuriating. I was literally overturning sofa cushions and checking the pockets of jackets I haven't worn in months. I felt so flustered and scatterbrained. Being late makes me feel incredibly anxious because I hate the idea of keeping people waiting. It feels quite disrespectful to their time, almost like I'm saying my time is more valuable than theirs.
I completely understand that sentiment. However, I think we have to admit that sometimes, despite our best intentions and most meticulous planning, circumstances are just beyond our control. A hectic schedule, especially when you're juggling work and studies, can make it almost impossible to stay on track 100% of the time.
Hectic is the perfect word for it. My life has been so chaotic lately, balancing research deadlines and personal projects, that I feel like I'm constantly playing catch-up. It's a domino effect. If the first task of the day is delayed by 10 minutes, every subsequent appointment for the rest of the day is pushed back.
And let's not forget the unforeseen obstacles. You finally get out the door, you're feeling a bit relieved, and then you realize you're low on fuel, or there's a sudden road closure you didn't account for. It's like the world is conspiring to make you tardy.
Exactly. Today, for instance, once I finally found my keys, they were in the fridge, don't ask why. I ran to the car only to find a neighbor had blocked my driveway. I had to wait another 5 minutes for them to move. By that point, I was practically vibrating with stress.
In the fridge? You must have been really distracted last night. But that perfectly illustrates the morning rush phenomenon. When we're in that state of mind, our logic goes out the window, and we make silly mistakes that actually slow us down even further. It's a vicious cycle.
It really is. I think that's why I've started trying to prepare everything the night before, laying out clothes, packing my bag. But even then, life finds a way to throw a wrench in the gears.
True, but I think the effort counts. Even if you end up being 5 minutes late, the fact that you tried to be organized usually shows in your attitude when you finally arrive. You're apologetic rather than just indifferent.
That's a good point. I'd rather be the person who is stressed about being late than the person who doesn't care at all. But it definitely takes a toll on your mental energy before the day has even properly begun.
It's interesting you mention respect and mental energy, because punctuality isn't just a personal habit. It's actually viewed so differently depending on where you are in the world. It's a fascinating cultural divide.
That's a great point. Sociologists often talk about monochronic versus polychronic cultures. In monochronic cultures, like in Germany, Switzerland, or Japan, time is seen as a linear, fixed, and rigid concept. If an event starts at 7 p.m., arriving at 7:05 p.m. is considered incredibly rude. You're actually expected to be there 5 minutes early just to be on time.
Right. In those places, time is money. It's something to be saved, spent, or wasted. If you're late, you aren't just late. You're being inefficient and unprofessional. But then you have other places, parts of Southern Europe, Latin America, or the Middle East, where time is more fluid. There, 7 p.m. is often treated as more of a polite suggestion or a starting window.
Exactly. I remember visiting a friend abroad for a dinner party. She told me the party started at 8 p.m. I showed up at 8:10 p.m., feeling slightly guilty for my tardiness and wondering if I should have texted her. I arrived only to find that the host hadn't even finished getting dressed yet, and the food wasn't even in the oven.
That's hilarious, but so common. In those cultures, social harmony and the flow of the moment are often more important than the ticking of a clock. In those cases, being strictly on time actually makes you the early one, which can be just as awkward as being late. You end up sitting there awkwardly while they vacuum the living room or finish their shower.
It really puts you in a predicament. You don't want to be rude by being late, but you don't want to be an inconvenience by being too early. It's all about social expectations and reading the room. However, even in those more relaxed cultures, I've noticed that in a professional setting, the rules are becoming much stricter regardless of the local pace of life.
Oh, absolutely. The business world tends to lean toward that monochronic style because it's global. If you're late for a job interview or a high-stakes board meeting, you might as well turn around and go home. It's a deal breaker. It sends a signal that you are unreliable, disorganized, or even worse, arrogant.
I agree. It's hard to recover from a stigma like that. People start to wonder if they can't manage their own alarm clock, how can they manage a $1 million project or a complex research paper? It's a harsh judgment, but it's the reality of the professional landscape.
It's also interesting to see how technology is changing this. With everyone having a smartphone synced to a global atomic clock, the "I didn't know what time it was" excuse has completely evaporated. We are more connected to the exact second than ever before, which I think has made society as a whole a bit more impatient.
That's true. We've become accustomed to instant results. If a video takes 3 seconds to load, we get annoyed. So when a person is 10 minutes late, it feels like an eternity. We've lost a bit of that tolerance for the natural delays of life.
It's a double-edged sword. We're more efficient, but we're also more high-strung. I think finding a middle ground, being respectful of others' time while being forgiving when life happens, is the best approach for our modern world.
I couldn't agree more. It's about balance. But speaking of life happening, let's talk about the things people say when they finally do show up late. Some of the reasons are, let's just say, quite creative. So when you are late, Orus, what's your go-to excuse? Do you stick to the absolute unvarnished truth, or do you embellish the story a little to make it sound more justifiable?
I try my best to be transparent, but I have to admit sometimes the truth sounds so cliché that it almost feels like a lie. If I say there was heavy traffic, it sounds like a generic cop-out because I simply didn't leave early enough,
even if there was a genuine, massive multi-car accident on the highway that brought everything to a standstill.
I know exactly what you mean. There's a certain suspicion that comes with common excuses. Public transport delays is another classic. It's often a very legitimate reason, especially with how unpredictable trains and buses can be, but it sounds suspicious because so many people use it as a smokescreen for oversleeping or procrastinating.
Exactly. It's the boy who cried wolf scenario. But what really gets me are the people who are chronically late. You know the type. The ones who are consistently 20 minutes behind no matter the occasion. Whether it's a casual coffee catch-up or a formal wedding, you just know they won't be there when the clock strikes the hour.
I think those people often suffer from what psychologists call optimism bias. They aren't trying to be rude. They genuinely believe they can shower, eat a full breakfast, check 50 emails, and drive across town in a mere 15 minutes. They consistently underestimate how long mundane tasks actually take.
Or they are procrastinators. They get a strange rush from the adrenaline of a looming deadline. They wait until the very last second to start getting ready, and then they act completely bewildered when they can't find their car keys or their phone charger. It's like they're addicted to the thrill of the chase.
I used to be a bit like that in my early 20s, but I realized it was taking a massive toll on my reputation. I've learned that padding my schedule is the only way to maintain my sanity and my friendships. If I need to be somewhere at 10, I mentally tell myself the hard deadline is 9:45.
That's a very practical, proactive strategy. It accounts for those unexpected hiccups like a missed bus, a sudden downpour, or a surprisingly long line at the coffee shop. If everything goes smoothly, you're just early and have time to relax. If something goes wrong, you're still on schedule.
Precisely. But have you ever heard those truly outlandish excuses? I once had a colleague tell me they were late because a stray cat had climbed into their engine and they had to wait for animal control to safely remove it.
No way. That is incredibly creative. Did you believe them?
I wanted to because it was so specific. That's the thing about excuses. The more elaborate they are, the more we tend to doubt them. Sometimes just saying, "I'm so sorry, I completely lost track of time," is much more credible and respected than a wild story about stray animals or domestic disasters.
I agree. Honesty builds trust, even when the honesty is a bit embarrassing. People generally appreciate it when you own up to your mistakes rather than trying to deflect the blame onto something else. It shows a level of maturity and self-awareness that an elaborate lie just can't match.
Very true. But no matter how good the excuse is, the way you behave when you finally walk through that door is what really matters. It's all about the delivery of the apology. Let's talk about that moment of truth. What happens when you finally arrive and have to face the person you've kept waiting? How do you personally handle that situation, Orus?
The most important thing I've found is to be immediate and sincere. A quick, heartfelt, "I'm so sorry for keeping you waiting. I know your time is valuable," goes a long way in diffusing any potential tension. If you walk in acting like nothing happened, or worse, looking at your watch as if they are the ones being sensitive, it's a recipe for a strained relationship.
I couldn't agree more. Indifference is far more insulting than the lateness itself. And I think it's crucial not to spend 10 minutes over-explaining why you were late. Usually, the person waiting doesn't care about the intricate details of your broken toaster or the long-winded story about your neighbor's cat. They just want to get started with the meeting, the meal, or the movie.
That is a great point. Excessive explaining can actually feel like a second imposition on their time. If you spend 5 minutes apologizing and 10 minutes explaining, you've just added 15 minutes of unproductivity to their day. Keep the apology brief, acknowledge the inconvenience you caused, and then pivot immediately to the task at hand. It shows you're focused on making up for lost time.
Exactly. It's about momentum. Also, we have to talk about the pre-apology, the heads up. If you realize you're going to be late, the polite thing to do is to send a text or make a quick call as soon as you know. Don't wait until you're already 5 minutes past the agreed upon time to say, "I'm 10 minutes away." That's just adding salt to the wound.
Adding salt to the wound. What a perfect idiom for this. Sending that notification early allows the other person to recalibrate. Maybe they can finish an email, make a quick phone call, or just sit back and relax with their coffee instead of checking the door every 30 seconds. It transforms their waiting time into productive time.
It really does. It shows a level of consideration that people deeply appreciate. It says, "I messed up, but I still respect you enough to keep you informed." And when you arrive, even if you're flustered, try to compose yourself. If you spend the first 10 minutes of a lunch date complaining about the traffic, you're essentially making the conversation all about your bad morning instead of enjoying their company.
That's a subtle but very important social grace. You have to swallow your pride, leave the frustration of the commute at the door, and be fully present for the person you're with. If you're constantly dwelling on the reasons for your lateness, you aren't really there with them.
It's also worth considering how we make amends. If I'm significantly late for a coffee date, I'll often insist on paying for the other person's drink as a small token of my apology. It's not about the money, really. It's a symbolic gesture that says, I recognize I caused an imbalance here and I want to fix it.
I love that. It's a tangible way to show you're sorry. In a professional context, it might be offering to stay late to finish a task or taking on a bit of extra work to ensure the project stays on track. It's all about reestablishing that professional equilibrium.
Equilibrium. Now that's a B2 word. It's all about balance, isn't it? Whether it's social or professional, an apology is only as good as the behavior that follows it. If you apologize but then continue to be late every single week, the words start to lose their validity.
Precisely. Consistency is the foundation of reliability. An apology is a temporary fix. A change in habit is the permanent solution.
Well, Corey, I think we've covered an incredible amount of ground today, from the adrenaline-fueled chaos of the morning rush to the complex etiquette of making a sincere apology.
It really has been an enlightening conversation. It's funny how a simple concept like time can reveal so much about our personalities and our respect for others. For our listeners out there, we want you to take a moment and reflect on your own habits. Are you the monochronic type who feels physically ill if you're 2 minutes late? Or do you tend to have a more fluid relationship with the clock?
And remember, if you do struggle with punctuality, don't be too hard on yourself, but do try to implement some of the strategies we discussed. Whether it's padding your schedule by 15 minutes or setting internal deadlines, small changes can significantly reduce your stress levels and improve your standing in the eyes of others.
Absolutely. Also, keep an eye and an ear on the vocabulary we use today. This episode was saturated with useful upper intermediate terms. Try to incorporate words like consistently, underestimate, unforeseen, and tangible into your own English practice this week. Maybe try writing a short paragraph about a time you were late and use at least 3 of these words.
That's an excellent challenge. We love reading your responses, so please leave a comment below. What is the most extravagant or unbelievable excuse you've ever heard, or perhaps even used yourself? We promise we won't judge.
Speak for yourself, Orus. No, I'm kidding. We really do value this community and the insights you share with us. It's what makes daily English dialogue so special.
Before we sign off, if you found this dialogue helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us to keep producing these long-form episodes for you. And if you have a friend who is chronically late, maybe subtly share this link with them. It might be the gentle nudge they need.
That's a bold move, Orus. But hey, sometimes tough love is necessary. Thank you all so much for tuning in and for dedicating your time to improving your English with us. We know you have a choice of what to listen to, and we're honored you chose us.
We look forward to seeing you in the next episode, where we'll be exploring another fascinating topic to help you navigate the English-speaking world with confidence. Until then, stay punctual, or at least stay apologetic.
Exactly. Take care, everyone, and happy learning.
Goodbye for now.
Bye.